The interrogation chamber aboard the Zarthan flagship was built to break minds. It had no shadows, no sounds, only the sterile hum of alien machinery and the unsettling feeling of being watched by something not alive. Commander Soraka stood on the other side of the reinforced barrier, studying the creature inside. A human. He had no armor, no weapons. His face was cut, bruised. He'd been captured after destroying 3 dropships and disabling an entire Zarthan field outpost with just a small squad. His name, Lieutenant Kale Wren. She stepped in. The door hissed shut behind her. No guards. She didn't need them. She was Zarthan elite, genetically bred to kill, trained in the void. Kale sat on the floor, cuffed, hunched forward. Calm, almost bored. You do realize you're surrounded by an entire war fleet, Soraka said coldly. So why? She leaned closer through the field. Asterisk, aren't you afraid? Human. Asterisk. Kale slowly looked up. His lip was bleeding, one eye swollen. But when he smiled, Soraka took a step back. Because that smile wasn't desperate. It wasn't insane. It was knowing. Because, Kale said softly, if I'm here, it means my people are already on their way. And if you think I'm bad, his eyes locked on hers. You haven't met the ones they send when talking stops. Soraka blinked. The lights flickered. Somewhere deep in the ship, an alarm triggered. Kale didn't flinch. He just whispered, too late to be afraid now. Red emergency lights pulsed through the corridor outside Kale's cell. Commander Soraka turned, her voice slicing through the calm. Report. Now. A shaky voice answered. Ma'am, power fluctuations across Deck 9. Life support blinked for 3 seconds. We don't know why. System malfunction? She snapped. Negative. It's not the ship, ma'am. Something's inside. Inside the cell, Kale hadn't moved. Still calm. Still smiling. You hear that? He said, glancing up at the blinking lights. They're here. Soraka hissed, stepping forward. No one could have tracked us across fold space. Kale shrugged, stretching slightly despite the cuffs. That's what the Sval thought. Before we erased them from 3 moons. She paused. The Sval Empire hadn't fallen. It had disappeared, ships found adrift, planets sterilized, with no signs of life. No one had known who did it. Until now. What are you? She breathed. Kale met her gaze with something ancient in his eyes. We're not the strongest. Not the fastest. Not even the smartest. But we're the ones who never stop. Your kind plays with war. We mastered it. Another alarm blared. Screams, short, sharp, and cut off. Soraka spun toward the door. Security locked down the brig. Now, no response. Kale stood. Cuffs fell to the ground. How? Soraka started. You took our tech, Kale said simply. But you never understood it. Something hit the outer hull. Hard. The lights cut. And in the dark, Kale stepped through the deactivated barrier like it wasn't even there. Now, he said softly. Let's talk about fear. The Zarthan dreadnought was now a tomb floating through space. No weapons fired. No hull breaches. Just systems failing and people vanishing. Commander Soraka moved through the corridor with 2 guards at her back. Their weapons were drawn, their steps uncertain. All around them, the bodies of elite Zarthan soldiers lay crumpled, no signs of struggle. No wounds. Just blank stares. Like something had taken their minds. Where is he? She hissed. He was seen near engineering, one of the guards whispered. But the cameras, they're not showing anything now. Only static. He's just one man, the other muttered. No. Soraka replied, her voice low. He's not. Elsewhere in the ship, Kale moved like a shadow. No armor. No weapon. Only instinct. He bypassed security systems by feel. Slipped past drones by timing the flicker of their scanning eyes. He didn't just move through the ship, he haunted it. Back in the command bridge, officers tried to regroup. Suddenly, a distorted voice came over the intercom, Kale's voice. You think you're the hunters, but you boarded a battlefield you don't understand. You're not on a warship anymore. You're in my world now. Screens across the ship lit up, footage of human wars, real footage, trenches, nukes, zero-G dogfights, flamethrowers, orbital drops. The Zarthan officers froze as they watched an entire battlefield swallowed in fire and ash. This is what made me, Kale's voice echoed. This is why I'm not afraid. Then silence. Total. No hum. No power. Just darkness. And somewhere, footsteps. Getting closer. Commander Soraka had trained for war her whole life. She'd faced hive swarms, planetary insurrections, and black hole missions. But nothing, nothing compared to this. Her personal guard was gone, one by one, silently erased. Now, alone in the flickering corridor outside the command bridge, Soraka held her pulse rifle with shaking hands. "You're not a god," she shouted into the darkness. "You're just flesh." Silence. Then, a voice directly behind her. "And yet, your gods bleed when we arrive." She spun, fired. Nothing. Just smoke. But her calm crackled to life. "Kill again." You wanted to see fear. But fear isn't what happens when the lights go out. It's when you realize the shadows never left. It's when you meet something you can't stop, can't predict, can't understand. It's when you capture a human and think the story ends there. You took me. So now, I'm going to show you what we take in return. Across the dreadnought, emergency hull seals began failing. Manually overridden Soraka stared at the override terminal. Her access codes didn't work. Kale had full control. The lights flared, just long enough for her to see the message written on the wall in Zarthan blood. "Tell them what you saw." Then came the final blow, an Earthcom signal, hijacking every screen. "This is Commander Arden of the SRS Nightshade. Retrieval complete. Purge initiated." Outside the dreadnought, a human stealth cruiser uncloaked. One shot. Silent. Surgical. The Zarthan flagship detonated into a cold, clean fireball. Soraka alone had escaped, ejected moments before the blast. Her pod floated through space, silent. She stared at Earth's symbol on her cracked HUD display, breathing heavily. "Why weren't you afraid?" she whispered again. Kale's voice still echoed in her mind. "Because you don't fear death when you are the storm." Weeks later, the Galactic Council convened in a sealed chamber of pure silence. Not because they were debating war, but because they were processing what survived of the footage. Of the dreadnought. Of Kale Ren. Of what he did. And of his words. Calm, chilling, unwavering. "We thought humans were impulsive," said the Vaxery speaker, her tentacles twitching nervously. "We thought their violence was emotional, unfocused." "We were wrong," whispered the Orcs Lord General. "They don't rage like beasts. They strike with purpose, with precision. They let us believe they were weak." No one responded. The footage had shown everything. Not just how Kale escaped, but how he turned the most advanced Zarthan warship into a crypt in less than a day. And now, across 100 worlds, the phrase was being whispered by soldiers, diplomats, even warlords. "Why aren't you afraid, human?" And the answer? Because fear is for those with limits. Kale was never seen again. Rumors claimed he'd returned to Earth. Others said he'd been deployed to places darker than the stars themselves. What mattered was this. The galaxy stopped laughing at humanity. No longer underestimated. No longer ignored. Now, humans were spoken of like myths. Like storms in flesh. And every species knew, if a human was captured, hurt, or threatened, they wouldn't come screaming. They'd come smiling,